Sheamus?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was one of the greatest goddamn things I've ever seen in my life. But yeah, like that'd be cool and all, but I think it's gonna be somebody like Edge or Mickie James, someone that like really like helped her shine in her career.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Who knows? To me, it doesn't matter.
Well,
I just know that if he's still alive when it happens, that I'm 99.9% sure that Jake the Snake will be inducting DDP.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, there are a lot of names that go through my mind when it came to like Kurt Angle. I thought like Mark Henry would be a good person to induct Teddy Long, because most of his managerial career was with Mark Henry. So I thought, well, that actually makes pretty much sense. For some reason, I thought Jimmy Hart would be a good person to induct the Rock and Roll Express, but I'm pretty sure that I'm thinking that there was a different manager that managed those guys, and I don't think it was Jimmy Hart, unless you know offhand if it was.
Off the top of my head, no. I was really young when those guys were around. But I was just thinking for Teddy Long, I think it would be cool if Vicky Guerrero inducted him.
Oh, that'd be an interesting one.
Those two had a very, very long and awesome history together with being general managers and all. So, but
she comes.
Yeah, good for Beth Phoenix. Like I said, a lot of people were complaining. Who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Like who gets in and when they get in.
Right, as long as they kind of get in. I think that there was one person that I was talking to on the the WCCW page that was saying like, why is Beth Phoenix getting in before Ivory? And I just said WWE logic, really. And that's one of those things I will keep true to this day, where if something seems stupid, I'll just keep saying WWE logic, man. It's just that simple. But you know what? Going into another positive note, we get to see Cesaro and Samoa Joe on a Monday Night Raw. Yeah. I honestly enjoyed it. I honestly thought it was a pretty good matchup. The leg injury deal, I think, kind of hindered it only a little bit. I'm only saying like a minuscule of it, because Cesaro and Samoa Joe, they basically ended Raw, close to ended Raw. I thought that should have been the last match for Monday Night Raw, but it wasn't.
It was definitely match of the night. Those two, I thought, had a great match. I think the little knee injury angle was just that little edge to help Samoa Joe go over clean. That Uranagi Slam has been doing. I know he's been doing it for a long time, but I swear it never looked that nasty when he did it in TNA.
No, you're right. And I'm guessing that's probably the direction that he's going to go. He's going to use that Uranagi Slam as his finisher instead of the Muscle Buster.
Yeah, no more Muscle Buster because you almost killed the guy, and no more Coquina Clutch because you just took out one of our top stars with it.
Well, in all fairness, I don't think that it was the clutch that really kind of hurt Seth Rollins. I think it was just the way that Seth Rollins fell back that kind of made
it was that weird, like, he had it, like, locked in on the side, and when he dropped down, like, Seth's, like, knee just stuck, like his foot just stuck.
Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Just an angle, but, freak accident, but, yeah, I don't know, it was cool. I thought it was a good match.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I got a feeling those two, like I said earlier about, like, if they're doing this whole new age evolution thing, I think Cesaro would be a great guy to throw in the mix with guys like Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and I would like to just state that I called this because after Samoa Joe came out victorious, he was getting interviewed, and then Sami Zayn came out. They had a nice little brawl there, and it was later announced that it was going to be Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe at Fastlane. And I called it. I said that if it wasn't going to be Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe at Fastlane, it was going to be Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe. And honestly, totally okay with this, because if you've seen their 2 out of 3 falls match in NXT, you know these guys have a lot of potential, and they've got a lot of great ring chemistry. I'm looking forward to this matchup. I think it's going to be really good. If it's not, it's going to probably be the match of the night, if not the underappreciated match of the night, in all honesty.
Yeah, it could be really good. I got a feeling, though, it's going to carry over to Mania. I don't see them just doing a one-and-done thing. But I think it'll definitely probably take its conclusion at WrestleMania. But then again, who knows? They like to drag shit on too long sometimes.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, it is Samoa Joe versus Sami Zayn, so I can't really complain too much. But that's just me.
It's going to be a good match. There's no doubt about that. I'm not complaining about it in any way, shape, or form.
So let's get on to the main event segment, which is the contract signing between Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Why? Braun Strowman came out, talked to Mick Foley. Mick Foley was basically just getting roughed up by Stephanie and by Samoa Joe and by everybody, saying that he doesn't have it in him anymore, and he's basically a shell of his former self, and blah blah blah. So this was kind of Mick Foley's way of just saying, I've had it with this BS and blah blah blah, and tried to make it seem like he's an enforcer against Braun Strowman. Mick, I love you, bro, but at the same time, it's Braun Strowman. This guy could hug a bear and kill it with his weird little bear hug sleeper hold, or he'll power slam a bear and kill it. And out comes the savior, Roman Reigns, who, as soon as he hit the spear on the barricade, the Green Bay crowd really got behind Roman. I could definitely hear them, chanting, Roman, Roman, Roman. I'm like, all right, he's finally getting some good reactions now. It's interesting to see, and he's doing it in, different fashion. I know people have been getting on him. It's like, oh, he needs to be like a brawler. He needs to be doing stuff like that. Well, I think that, spearing Braun Strowman against the barricade definitely helps that. And he is about to sign the contract.
It doesn't matter who does that. They're going to cheer anytime somebody puts somebody through a table or a barricade or something like that. I mean, fucking Mae Young could come back out and put somebody through a barricade and the crowd's going to go ape shit. Okay,
fair enough. But either way, it had no effect on Braun Strowman. He just no-sold Cena that. And he just came back in, ate a Superman punch, and then, oh my gosh, the ending for that where he just grabs Roman Reigns, tosses him into the turnbuckle, and the turnbuckle just slings back at him. I'm just like, oh, whoa, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really care for that. I thought it looked kind of dumb.
It was kind of one of those things where, I don't know, it seemed like, in my opinion, that Braun Strowman, one-upped Roman Reigns on that one. It's like, Roman Reigns, I'm going to spear you through the barricade. Braun's just like, I'm just going to throw you into the turnbuckle. Let's just see what happens. Boom, turnbuckle breaks.
Well, I get, that concept on paper, looks and sounds amazing. Okay, I'm going to whip you into the turnbuckle. It's going to snap back and, flip you back into the ring, and it's going to look brutal as fuck. But it didn't. I thought it looked cheesy.
Yeah, I can kind of see your point now. I'm kind of visualizing it in my head how it kind of looked, and I was like, oh yeah, that's right. It did look kind of...
Yeah, the idea was great. It's just the way it happened, I don't think it had maybe a big enough effect that they were maybe going for. But I got the concept. I was like, oh man, I just wish it looked cooler, because, I don't know, it just... they showed it 6 freaking times. And I don't know.
Okay.
But other than that, I like that whole segment. Braun Strowman getting speared through the barricade, and then basically just getting up and going, "Is that all you got?" And the crowd is just like, "Oh, holy crap!"
So yeah, in all honesty, like we said, not really, dreading the fact that we missed this Raw. But, anytime a wrestling event comes into, our neck of the woods, it's always good to go see it. But all in all, this Raw was okay. I think this was probably the worst Raw they probably had in a while, in my opinion, because I remember saying last week it was better, but compared to this week, this Raw was kind of, lackluster. The promos kind of dragged, and jokes were nice, funny.
There's another thing that happened tonight that really, really upset me, and it was during the Seth Rollins interview. Fucking crowd starts chanting CM Punk.
I didn't like that either. I was like, why? It doesn't make sense.
I posted on it in one of the wrestling groups, and I was just like disappointed in you. I was like, why? I'm like, one, he's never coming back. Two, all he did was talk horrible trash about a sport that he supposedly loved and was his life. Talked all this trash about it after he left. It's like, yeah, well, I respect what he did when he was here, and I will always cheer for him for that. I was like, I get that, but you're cheering for a dude that doesn't give a fuck what you think. He doesn't give a fuck about fans. He doesn't give a fuck about the business. And, yeah, what he did when he was there was good, but his ego took the best of him. Like, they're not giving me my due, but he just had a 434-day title reign, but no, he's not getting his credit. He's not getting his, his time. He's not getting his due. And why? Because they had him job to Rock and Taker. Yeah, pretty much everyone is going to job to those guys, like except Cena.
Or Trips.
Well, or Trips, but, persevering the boss's daughter, I guess. But
yeah.
I don't know. I don't understand how fans still, how many fucking years have it been? It's always as soon as something they consider as boring happens. The person I'm talking to used Goldberg as a reference. Like, well, they chant Goldberg, and it's like, well, Goldberg's there. They chant his name during his segments, during his interviews, during his matches. They're not chanting Goldberg when two other people are out in the ring, busting their ass off like they do every day they're out in that ring. And I think it's disrespectful. Especially like that. Seth Rollins out there like pouring his heart out, and you're gonna say like, "Fuck you," what you're saying's not important. CM Punk, like, nah, I'm not buying it.
Yeah. The thing was, I thought like when that was going on, there was a point where Seth Rollins actually just stopped. I thought to myself, "Oh wow, he's probably just gonna break kayfabe and then just jump out and just beat the shit out of them." I would have done that, but that's just me. And
where's Stephanie coming out and saying, if you could do that for another 2 minutes and 14 seconds,
you get
it'll be 1 second longer than CM Punk last in the UFC.
Oh yeah, that joke. Well, before we leave, I did want to touch base about this because I did post it again on our group page and on our Facebook page. And also, I'm sure that you and Chris are going to talk about this, on Thursday, and I definitely want to hear your guys' thoughts, and even your thoughts right now about this. So, breaking news coming out that the Broken Hardys, that being Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero, their contracts are soon expiring from TNA, Impact Wrestling, and they've opted not to re-sign with the company. And I said that I was going to have a theory on this. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people would love to see them go into WWE. Right now, I do not see that happening. I'm not, crossing that off the list of, places that they could go. But I just don't think that, WWE is going to be like their first place to go. And honestly, it wouldn't really probably work unless, and this would be something I'll probably do in a later podcast, unless they do something to where, they're unifying the tag team titles together. And then the Broken Hardys, they just come out and they win. That way, I could see that making sense because, from their storyline perspective, they're trying to get like all the tag team titles from all the world. And they got a great matchup coming up against the Young Bucks the weekend of WrestleMania. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, I just don't see WWE pulling them up and calling them up because of, not only that, but, I think it's just mainly because of maybe even also just some of the things that maybe Matt has said about WWE on national TV. I don't think that they would kind of be okay with bringing up the fact that, oh yeah, he did in fact mention our show, not in the best way, but he still mentioned our show. But I don't know, your thoughts?
Outlaws did it when they